have the privilege of sitting down today via Zoom with Duke of Spook, Mr. Motherfucker himself, Wednesday 13. Thank you for taking the time today to do this. First of all, how are you on this
I'm good.
Thursday?
I'm good. I have a day off. You're my last interview for the day. I'm on my tour bus right now. So if you hear noises and people around, it's because there's a full bus of people here. So I have a few minutes to chat with you about the new record and tell you what's up in Wednesday's world.
Yeah, so indeed, today we are talking about your up-and-coming album Mid-Death Crisis coming out the 25th of April via Napalm Records. What are your feelings now, a week shy of the release of this new album?
I'm excited. I mean, it's crazy to think that this time last year, I was literally just writing the first song or the first ideas, or even didn't have a title. Didn't know when I was going to go in the studio exactly. Didn't know anything. So to think that this is done, there's 3 videos made, there's photos, album cover. A lot has happened in a year. In the last 6 months, just everything. It's been a lot of work, and to know that it's out in 7 days is pretty crazy, and I'm very proud of it. And that's something that 10 albums in, to have something that you're proud of, that you're as excited about as the first album that I put out 20 years ago. So it's a good feeling, and I think I made a really cool record, and I think my fans are gonna love it. I know they like the 2 songs they've heard so far, and I think they're gonna love this whole album.
So, as we speak right now, you are touring the States. So, how's the tour been thus far, and what are your feelings now that your record is getting released mid-tour? Will it kind of change the setting after its release? Set list maybe, performance?
Not really. I mean, we're still playing 3 songs. The 3 singles are being played in the live show, and I don't think I want to do any more than 3 or 4 new songs in a live show. I always try to put myself on the other side of the stage and the audience. And as much as I love a band, I don't want to hear a bunch of songs that they don't know. So I'm trying to play stuff that, at least with the singles now, with Devil Commands and In Misery, people have heard that. Next week they'll hear the next single, No Apologies, and that'll be familiar to them when we play that next week. Um, so yeah, it's a cool thing to for us to get out and play any new songs, especially when you're playing. This tour is celebrating Transylvania 90210, which is 20 years old. So to play anything that's new, just for any musician, maybe they only understand it, but it's like a breath of fresh air to play something new, and to get a reaction from the audience that they already know the song is such a good feeling. It's like what I call it, what the audience is receiving these new songs as a instant classic.
So, this up-and-coming album, if I'm not completely wrong, is the 10th Wednesday 13 full-length studio album.
That is
So,
correct.
clearly, for longtime fans like me, listening to the album, it kind of goes back to the roots of older-ish Wednesday with like Bloodstorm and Rotting Away, Decapitation. Was that a
Mhm.
conscious choice on your behalf, or did it just kind of come naturally in the studio?
Both. Definitely conscious decision to go back toward the first album. The first album was just the blueprint in my mind, and I went just not just for the music, but just even the state of mind I was in. I had a good time making that record. It was fun. It was exciting to do something on my own, and go, oh, well, what separates me from Murder Dolls or Frankenstein drag queens? And that was just um so to go back and write this new album, 10 albums in, to go, where do you start? And I went, well, the beginning. That was where I had the most fun, and those songs over 20 years, that's the songs everyone likes the most. They like the first album. They like the first 3 albums. Not that they don't like the other records, but they like the first few. And I guess I'm guilty of the same way with my favorite artists. I like the first few more than I like the latest records. So I wanted, with this album, I wanted to try to change that and go, I wonder if I can make a record that'll resonate with my fans as good as the first album. Can I give them enough good songs and remind them of the first album? And I think this is as close as I could get this time. I tried my hardest to deliver something like that without repeating the same album. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it clearly has its own sound, but it still sounds very much a Wednesday album. But it kind of reminds me of like Calling Our Corpses era almost, and the Bad Things with the tongue-in-cheek creative lyrics that you always had.
Definitely, definitely. And it's the sense of humor is, I think, something that's always uh, defined what I do. And maybe I got away from that a little bit on certain records on purpose. And but this was definitely a return to more fun, campy stuff. Like it has to make me smile to have a to really enjoy what I do. And this record's full of tongue in cheek, fun, campy stuff like that.
Yeah, well, going to the glam metal kind of horror punk, there is, speaking on that, there is quite an interesting feature on the new album. The vocalist of Faster Pussycat, Tame Me Down.
Hmm.
Talk how this came to be all of a sudden on your album,
Hmm.
this collab.
Yeah, well, Tammy's been a friend for many years now, and but I was a fan before we were friends. I grew up listening to Faster Pussycat, and I even give Tammy credit of, when I watched Faster Pussycat, I was a little blonde-haired kid watching the band, and I watched Tammy dye his hair black, and I was like, oh, I want to do that too. And I remember seeing him wearing hats and big glasses like this. So when you kind of look at old photos of him from like 1992, 93, it's not very far from what you see right here. So he's a big influence on my look, and even my vocals. He was just they were a big influence on what I do. So when we were writing this song in the studio, we called this track, you just as a fun thing in the studio, we called it the Faster Pussycat song because it reminded us of Faster Pussycat. And then our producer just mentioned the idea. He goes, "You should get Tammy to sing on this." And I went, "Yeah, I should." So I literally texted him on my phone and asked him to be on it, and he came to the studio, and the rest is wet story.
So is that something you would like to delve into more in the future, do collabs, or is there like some dream collabs you would really want to check off your bucket list in the future, maybe?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I had Alice Cooper do the intro on my record a few years ago. That was the if that would have been the end of anything, that would have been fine for me. That was the only one on the list that I really wanted to do. Everything else has just been kind of offered to me as a fun thing to do and collab on. There's one collaboration I've just recently completed that's coming out later in the year with another band. So there's a bunch of people offering me ideas. So it just um, for me, it just opens doors. I'm always looking for people to discover the band for the first time. We've been around for 20 years, but some people have only heard about us through one of these new songs, and those are the people I'm trying to reach out to. I tell people, I see people all the time. I see them wearing Ghost T-shirts and other band shirts, and they don't know who Wednesday 13 is. And I tell them I'm your favorite band, and you don't even know it.
Hell yeah. So speaking on the album's name, which is again a play on words, which you like to do, mid-death crisis, is that kind of would you see yourself in kind of reflect
Yes,
on that point in your career? Because, well,
yes.
clearly you're not going anywhere anytime soon, at least hopefully. But do you ever like think about life after music and touring, and what would that like look for you?
Uh, Not life after. I don't really. I have never even thought about not playing music, so I don't think I'll ever stop doing that. But yeah, I mean, the title is just a play on just life. It's just, I mean, doing this long and still enjoying it and doing it. Doing music into, I'll be 50 next year, so that's really where this title comes from. I was
Mm.
backstage complaining about getting older, and my drummer walked by and just chimed in and said, "Sounds like you're having a mid-death crisis." And it made me laugh. And I went, "Yes, I am." And I went, "Oh, well, is that the new album title, or is it a song title?" So the title just popped up again. And, I guess it's just a fun way to look at it. And with life, nobody gets out of this thing alive. So enjoy it, have fun. And this is sort of my laughing my way to the grave record. That's what I've been saying. I'm having a good time with it. And, I've always sang about those subjects, and I just went back to what I do best.
So your future plans for the foreseeable future, you will be doing Wednesday and music and touring until, well, you cannot do it no more.
Yeah. I mean, I see Alice Cooper and I see him doing this. He's been doing this way before I was born, and he's still doing it. And so he's someone I just always look up to. So I hope I can still do it the way he's doing it at his age.
Yeah, well, seeing you on stage, like you still move like you're in your 20s. And like
Thank you.
I heard you on the Chris Garza podcast talking about like your voice is nowadays better than ever, and you feel like you're in the
Mhm.
best shape of your life performance wise. What would you like attribute that to?
Just paying attention to it, trying to focus on being better, and just I was drunk for many years. I used to go on stage with that rock and roll lifestyle that I read all my heroes did. I was just doing what I thought you supposed to do in a rock band. You sex, drugs, rock and roll, and play. That was I didn't know that would catch up with you. So now I'm not doing that, and I'm able to focus on just being better. And as I've gotten older, I can control what I do better. I can sing better. I can perform better. It's amazing what you can do on stage if you don't drink a half a bottle of Jack Daniels.
That's good to hear. Well, oh, like talking about your music and your lyrics, well, it's very apparent like your love for horror films, and you've made it very clear like you love the 80s horror, and you reference it a lot. Is there like one specific movie that gets referred to a lot in your songs, like multiple times, or is it like one that favorite like you refer to most?
Uh, I mean, there's probably a couple that I keep going back to. I mean, Chainsaw Massacre and probably Return of the Living Dead are the two I
Mm,
have saying the most about, and just keep, because there's so many stories with that, and they're like my two favorites. So I just keep stealing from that pot, because I still watch those movies on repeat. And so yeah, those are probably the two that I steal from the most.
yeah, if actually it might kind of related to the 80s horror, if my memory serves me correctly, might not. In past interviews, you talked about your pro wrestling fandom. Am I correct?
The pro wrestling?
Yeah, you liked pro
Uh,
wrestling in the past?
yeah, I mean, that was just a big staple in my hometown, and wrestling. That whole era was just a big thing during the '80s. So and they like on cartoons, and just Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania was
Yeah.
running wild.
You ever like took any inspiration, like the characters and the gimmicks to maybe.
It was fun. It was entertainment. I mean, and and it's still going today. So I mean, I think pro wrestling's more rock and roll than rock and roll is these days, it seems.
Yeah, it's a train that keeps on rolling. But yeah, like the last time I actually saw you live was when you did the Murder Dolls thing, playing
Mm.
the 20 years, and it was
Okay.
seemingly a great success playing those songs live. Would you maybe want to do that after you're finishing up, touring with this album? Maybe do some
Uh,
more Murder Dolls stuff, or maybe reconnect with the older members, or
We'll
would that be a
see. I
possibility?
mean, anything's possible. I mean, like I said, as time goes on, people are discovering that band for the first time. We have a whole new generation of fans, like younger teenage fans, that are discovering what I do. So who knows? In 5 years, Murder Dolls could be, the biggest the thing. It could be like the Misfits, where it's just a slow thing that builds, and you know, then could be an arena band in 30 years if someone pays the right money.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of touching on Murder Dolls. I am recording this. I'm in Helsinki, Finland right now,
Hmm.
and do you remember that time when you opened to Iron Maiden in Helsinki
Hmm.
in the Olympic Stadium?
Yes, I
Didn't
do.
go very well. Was on the news in Finland, and do you have any memories of that
It was
particular?
on the news there? I'm not
Yeah,
surprised.
yes.
Um,
Like
well,
people threw some stuff on you and
oh, that happened every night. That was
okay.
nothing new. We did 6 weeks with Iron Maiden. That was nothing new. But there was a success story in that show in Helsinki, because that night we had Andy McCoy from Hanoi Rocks come out and perform with us. And the thing that changed, we'd been on tour with Iron Maiden for 6 weeks, and their audience hated our guts, and they threw garbage at us. And they threw garbage at us in Helsinki every single song until I introduced Andy McCoy. And when he walked out, the entire arena stood on their feet and cheered for one song. And we made the mistake. We should have finished with Andy McCoy, said thank you, Helsinki, good night, and walked off. But we had the bright idea to play one more song. And when Andy walked off, they continued to throw garbage at us. But I got to play on stage with one of my rock and roll heroes. So I was still a winner that night.
That's Hanoi Rock's always been like a big influence on you.
Absolutely. Michael Monroe is, Michael Monroe and Alice Cooper is basically my stage persona I strive for.
Yeah, actually, when thinking about you on stage, I see a lot of Mr. Monroe with kind of how
Yeah.
you move and how you interact with the crowd.
Yeah, he's the best. And I got to tour with Hanoi Rocks. I did their farewell tour in Japan before they
Mhm.
did their final shows in Finland. And so I went as a fan and I got to be involved in sort of their history and how it went out. And I became friends with Michael and just big influence on me.
Yeah, still kind of touching on the Murders and the newer album. Uh, s- you've said how much you learned from Joey being a musician and a touring musician. Is there still something that Joey taught you that is heard or implemented on this album and how you record and how you perform and how you do music, like in
Yeah,
the
I
year
mean,
2025?
he'll always be a voice in my head in the studio. I mean, he was when he was, before this, after everything I did after recorded with him, I learned things. And with this new album, when I was recording things, I would do a vocal track, and if there was something that maybe I thought in my brain, like, oh, maybe I should go and do that, um, or if maybe I would always hear Joey in the back of my head going, go do that. Almost like what would he go do? So I kind
Mm.
of used him as like this as a producer there on my shoulder, telling me ideas sometimes. So I learned a lot of stuff from him because my first real studio experience was with him.
Yeah, well, you've seen a lot and toured the world with Joey. Could you maybe share like one interesting story or something like what you still like have a fond memory of on tour in the
He
studio
was
or
just
hanging out?
so many, but he was just really passionate about his fans, and he took every territory serious. So like when we went to a different country. I went to Japan for the first time. It was just very serious about the culture, and he would make me try to learn Japanese to speak to the audience, and just every country we'd play. Oh, learn how to speak, do this, and just I was always. He always kept me. It kind of made me crazy too, but I learned so much from that. So, so if you can imagine me when I was first playing in Japan and I'm from the country and I'm trying to talk in Japanese to these people, like it didn't make sense what I was saying, but I tried. So those memories are always funny to me, especially when I go back and see footage of it too.
Yeah, that's where winding down in this interview, I would like to ask like now you've been a veteran in the music industry, like what 3 decades of doing this, numerous bands, jumping headfirst into rock stardom with Murder Dolls to carving your own musical path. After all is said and done, what would you like to think your legacy or what you would want it to be like in music?
I don't know. I mean, people. I get that horror punk king tag all the time. I mean, horror punk was a title. I didn't even know what it was when someone called us horror punk for the first time. Now it's actual like a term of stuff. So, um, just leaving my mark on this genre somewhere with that, where I'm the Duke of Spook. I gave myself a name like Michael Jackson, the King of Pop, or uh, so yeah. I just you know. For me, I've been doing this for so long. I don't know any other way to do it.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time. 25th of April, Mid-Death Crisis is coming out. Still, to end this, what can fans expect from this new album? What can they expect when they first put that vinyl or CD and hear the album?
Just hold on, buckle up. It's a ride. It's a fun house ride. This record is fun. It's a brand new album of stuff that's going to make you. It's going to feel familiar to the fans. They're going to love it. And 1 week away. I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to listen to that album when it's coming out. I wanna put it on my vinyl player like right now. So
Awesome,
thank you for taking the time this today, and thank you for all the music and all the years of entertaining us.
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, man. All right. Have a good day.
All right. Have a good day. This was a pleasure, true pleasure.